Well, another day on the farm. I just wanted to mention something. Throughout this whole project, I've been very open about challenges that we have because we're new to all this, right? And a lot of people who might be thinking about doing this would probably encounter some of the same challenges. I'm JC. This is Nat. Together we've helped hundreds of foreigners get more life for less money by having a retirement in Thailand. Now we've set out on a new adventure with the help of Danoi, Gakao, and Gopur. Together, join us on our journey while we turn this into this and make a full forest and help make Thailand green again. And so I think it's real useful. Of course, I'm going to catch backlash like, stupid for this or stupid for that. That's just the way it goes. Some people just are negative people and not very helpful. But we've encountered a lot of challenges and we're trying to overcome one by one each one of these challenges. One of the ones we've had is this fence line. And since the beginning, when we started our garden and things, we were using cuttings and mulch to try and stimulate growth, right? Well, one of the challenges we've had is Nat's parents who live next door have about, 30 or 40 chickens now. And the problem with them, some people say, well, they're great, they're going to, basically mow your yard and fertilize it, right? No, it's not the case. They seem to want to pick at bugs, and they want to pick at the bugs in the mulch that I put around the plants. And so as you can see here, there's no mulch, right? This is constant. Now I'm paying that son to do the weed eating and stuff like that. Plus I have the mower now, so I'm mowing and we're mulching everything. But as you can see, we mulch the chickens dig. They scratch it all apart. And so it's a waste of time and effort, right? So the first thing we did was we put up a fence. And it didn't work so good because it's not a strong fence. So then we upgraded it to a stronger plastic, thinking that would work. And it did work for a while when it was rainy season and we had a lot of growth because the growth of the weeds and stuff underneath the fence sort of created a barrier, right? And the chickens wouldn't come underneath. Now it's dry season and it turns out there's a lot of holes, and because of the unevenness of the terrain, I can't just level that out unless I want to level it out and pour concrete, right? That's not going to happen. So some people laughed when I mentioned in passing the electric fence was coming. So, what do you see? No chickens. This time of day I'd be chasing chickens. Yesterday finally I ordered, it's one of these electric fence, and it's 12 volt, so I can use 12 volt. We got the unit and then we got the battery to run it. And just yesterday we got the wire, and if you look real close you can hear chickens over there, but look, they're not near the fence. I wonder why that is. Oh, one's going to try and get near the fence, but the reason they're not here is because if you look close, see this wire? There's our electric wire. So I've strung a wire all the way down, and you'll be able to see the areas where they used to pop through. In fact, there's still big gaps here, but we tried to put the wire where the gaps are as low as we could so that they would hit their head or something on the thing trying to get through. And today, so far, I don't see any chickens. So this is really great. As you can see up here, we planted some palms, and these are always mulched Same with these little bananas we planted up here, but the chickens keep knocking away the mulch. So this fence now runs all the way down with that little electric wire on the bottom. And I'll show you the unit. And I think the wire cost me about $8. The unit was, I think, about $25. And then the battery, I forget how much the battery cost me, but we got it run all the way down here around that pole, because they like to go through this field over here and then go back over here, and then they would cross over. Now, a lot of this is still open, but they're pretty lazy. They don't go all the way down. Maybe now that they know that there's an electric fence here, they will. But so far today, there are no chickens. Now, yesterday I ran it for a couple hours, and about 2 hours used about 5% of this battery. So here's a little battery, and the unit is under here. There you go. That's how big that guy is. So like I say, I've always tried to share some of the challenges we're facing and how we're remedying them, because if you come to Thailand, if you've got a significant other or something, grabbing a little piece of property and growing some fruits and vegetables not only is good because you know what you're putting in your body, but it also keeps you busy. And I think that, did you hear that? Another one bites the dust, Nat. Boom, boom, boom. I don't know if you could hear that. This is constant, every day, 2 or 3 times a day. People are dying now, and this started after they rolled out this vaccine. Didn't happen during COVID. For a year and a half, didn't happen. But now that this vaccine's been implemented, there are a lot of people. Nat went to get strawberries yesterday, and the strawberry lady, Nat said, "You don't have very many strawberries." She says, "I don't have time to go get them." And Nat said, "Why not?" She said, "I'm too busy going to funerals." She says, "Everybody's dying." And they're not dying of COVID. She said, the interesting thing is, now, and she's vaccinated, this lady, she said, "I don't understand it. Before, people would get sick, and for a while they would get worse and then eventually die. And now everybody's being diagnosed with cancer, and within days or weeks they're dead." Yeah, go figure. Speaking of that, I don't know if you know about Bob Saget. Now, some people are going to say this is a conspiracy theory, blah, blah, blah. Just something to go, something to think about. Bob Saget's a comedian. He had a television show. He got vaccinated, has a Twitter. I don't know if it's still up or not. A Twitter video saying he had got vaccinated, blah, blah, blah. 2 weeks later, he was found in his hotel room dead. So they did the autopsy. And the family said after the autopsy that because the cause of death was blunt trauma to the head. But he was just laying there. And the toxicology report said there was no drugs or alcohol in his system. He was just laying there dead, no foul play. And this was a couple weeks, I think 10 days or something after he got the vaccine. Now, the interesting thing about that is, family said, yeah, he must have hit his head and not realized it and went to bed. Now, he has a fractured skull, bleeding on the brain, everything. You think he just hit his head that hard and said, I think I'll go lay down. Didn't put ice on it, didn't do anything. Something to think about. Anyway, I'm telling you, there's a lot of people. But the lady said, the strawberry lady brought that up. We didn't bring it up. People are noticing this. I mean, we hear that boom, 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 which signifies the head of the neighborhood fires these 3 shots, signifying somebody's passed. And we're hearing this 2 or 3 times a day. And I used to hear it, I don't know, once a month or something like that before. So anyway. But these are the challenges. Oh, by the way, challenges, speaking of challenges, the pond. I keep saying, I don't know if we got fish in there. But I don't know if you can see now. In the afternoon, it's easier to see. I started throwing some fish pellets in the evening, and just to see if there would be any action. And for a few days there was no action. I'm thinking, oh, I don't know if there's any fish. But now when I throw them in, they've gotten accustomed to me coming, and they know I'm going to throw them, and they come to the surface and start eating them. Now tilapia, they start out just being like plant eaters, and maybe they didn't like the pellets, but now they're starting to munch on them, and you'll see a lot of action on the water. Not a lot, but a fair amount of action on the water when I throw those little fish pellets in there. So we've got fish. That's cool, huh? We've got fish. And I'm going to look and see, because I know how big they were when we bought them. I'm going to look on a chart or something, see how much time has passed to get an idea how big they are, because the water is pretty, not clear, as you can see. And I'd like to know how big they are, how close we're getting to being able to eat one. Anyway, those are the challenges, those are our solutions, and that's what's happening. So here's a follow-up, guys. It's getting close to 5 o'clock in the evening. I threw in some fish food, and this is what I'm talking about. You can see action on the water from where I threw the food in. Check this out. So yeah, we've got fish. And another follow-up for people who haven't watched the YouTube channel for a while. When I said I heard the boom, 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 another one bites the dust. In the neighborhoods, we have the Puyaiban, which is sort of the head of the neighborhood. And when somebody passes away, I guess they have a gun or something they shoot into the air 3 times. And that's what we were talking about, that we hear all the time now. 2-3 times a day we're hearing this, where in the past we would hear that about once a month, something like that. So I just wanted to clarify that in case somebody's wondering, what the heck is JC talking about? Anyway, there's our fish. I'm going to go online and see how big they are for the amount of time they've been in the pond. But pretty good. Pretty good. Exciting. So Nat,
Yes.
what did we do today?
Shopping.
Shopping? Yeah, we got clothes and we got some things for the... No, none of that, huh? What did we do?
Tree.
We bought plants and trees. And we spent, I don't know, about $30 US, I guess it would be. And we got... Bougainvillea, how many?
23.
About 20 bougainvillea. And... Lemon. Manao. Limes. Yeah, we call them limes. And oranges. Yeah, we got oranges. Manao, limes. Got some little hanging, really cool hanging flower here. A little vine. Got that.
And one big tree.
And a big tree, which you can't see. I got it resting over here. I don't know if you can see that leaning up against the canopy or the topper for the truck. See that big guy there? Leaning in front of that? And we got all that today.
Yeah.
Big day. All right? And so we're going to get all this in the ground. These bougainvillea are going to line our fence line. Those will go in. And we're going to try, we use a lot of manao in cooking and stuff. So I said to Nat, we probably should stock up on that so we have some of those growing.
Yeah, now 6 baht for one.
So anyway, that was it. And now it's about dinner time. So we're going to get cooking, trying. Now it's summertime. And as soon as the sun goes down, the bugs come out now because it's not cool anymore. So we're going to try and start eating early and get done before it gets dark, and then hide from the bugs, right? Yeah, but we got a bug zapper in the kitchen now where we eat, and so I turn that on in the evening, and what does it do?
Zap the bug.
it's like the 4th of July, but it gives food for,
Chicken.
yeah, it gives me some chicken food. So anyway, that's it. That's what we did today. Big day out shopping. Nat's little shade house here is becoming a nursery quickly. All right, cool, huh? Yeah. Now this is the problem with people burning off their rice fields. It's dry season, and these things could really get out of control really easy. We're not exactly downwind of this, so probably we'll be okay. This started way off in the distance, and it is definitely getting closer. And you can hear it. Especially when there's a little breeze, you can hear it really crank up. Not a good thing. I understand biochar is probably a good fertilizer and makes it easy to get ready to replant, but you can see the amount of smoke going up in the air, and there's been air quality problems for the last few years. And this is supposed to be illegal now. But you see, hard to teach old dogs new tricks. So it's still getting closer. This is the hot, dry season, the end of winter. We haven't had any substantial rain for about a month. And there's a whole tree line. I know you can't see it because it's nighttime. There's a whole tree line along here, and all these trees have dry leaves on them, not to mention the dry leaves that have fallen. As you can see, it's getting closer. Not a good thing. You can see the wind blowing the smoke off to my left a little bit, so at least we're not getting the smoke. That's a good thing. It is definitely getting closer. We'll see if it burns itself out before it gets here. So, last night we had a fire.
Yeah.
And it turned out to be a nothing burger. We call nothing burger. Nothing there, right?
Yeah.
But it's something I wanted to mention because it looked bad, right?
Yeah.
And so what I did is got up higher up on the truck to get a better view. And when I got up on the truck, it still looked like it was something bad, but today we went out to check out what it was, and it really wasn't anything. Nothing to be worried about. But it reminded me of something. And that is, you know, there's so many things happening, events happening in the world right now, that we don't really know the meaning of them. Because, you know, there's a difference between correlation and causation. And sometimes you got to stand up and get a better view. You got to look deeper into the situation to find out, is it something to worry about or not? And if it is something to worry about, you do find out it's something to worry about, at what point do you actually try and stop what's happening? Interject, protect yourself. I don't see much of that happening these days. You know, for 10 years now, I've had a membership site. And every week I put out a video. And the video is talking about life in Thailand and about what's in the news. Because when it comes to interpreting what's in the news, there's
Always an option.
Always an option. And so some of the events that are happening in the world, a lot of people aren't looking at the correlation, much less the causation. Now, we probably will never know the causation unless people admit to it, but you should be looking at the correlation because this is really important. Now, 2 years ago, some of the events that I started talking about, people felt real uncomfortable about. You know, I was out on the fringe. Maybe I still am out on the edge with some of this stuff, but I decided to let people opt into that part of the information because it didn't really necessarily have to do with specifics to retirement in Thailand, even though on the peripheral, it really was probably the most important information I've ever put out in 10 years. So I thought, I can't stop doing that, even though some members felt real uncomfortable, some members canceled. But it was something I felt was so important I had to continue to talk about it. Hello! And now it turns out that a lot of what some people would have considered conspiracy theories are proving out to be truths. And am I redeemed? That wasn't the point of it, to be right or wrong. It was a point about protecting retirees from things that I felt would affect their retirement and their future, their golden years, so to speak. So I'll continue to do that. I think it's really important. No matter what the downside of consequences are, sometimes you got to step up and do the right thing. And I thought that was always the right thing. And more importantly, now than ever before in the history of our lifetimes, this kind of information, standing up and getting a closer look, is more important than ever, because there's things going on that you really, really, really need to be focused and paying attention to, that not only affect your retirement, but your life and your family's life. And so if you're not going to come and listen to the alternative stuff that I post, because it's not me talking about it, I just talk about what I'm going to show you and let the experts talk about it. And if you're not willing to look at it from our membership site, look at it somewhere. You really need to be paying attention. Now, I share all these experts I have for the last 2 years of what they were saying compared to what was in the mainstream media. And like I say, a lot of their predictions now have come true, and this is playing out in a way that isn't good for anybody in the world that respects democracy and freedom. So again, when it comes to aggregating and interpreting the events that are happening in the world, there's always an option. So if you want to get information about the picks that I pick every week of important and relative information that you should be paying attention to, become a member. If not, find it somewhere and pay attention. Stand up, take a closer look, and know where you're going to draw the line in the sand. I said about a year ago, this is the hill to die on. And I still believe that more than ever. If you all don't stand up and put a halt to what's happening in the world, there'll be a point of no return. There'll be crossed a threshold. So this is the hill worth dying on. Know where you draw the line in the sand and stand up for your rights. Stand up and be heard and seen and say, no, I will not comply. See you, JC, and that out. Hey, JC here. If you like that video, make sure to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel here. Also, we have another video up here you're going to be really interested in watching as well. And if you're looking for all the details of how to retire in Thailand in one place, plus a group of people to support you, check this out over here. Give it a click.